people who are out of town. But enough about that. Now let's actually do some coaching. And we'll take probably just 10 or, I would say probably 7 to 15 minutes. Now, what I need is I need a volunteer who maybe has some kind of issue that they're just trying to figure out with an older parent, or maybe they are a parent of an adult. And you and I will engage in a little coaching conversation so you can see what everybody can benefit and see what those are like.
I have a situation with my father.
All right, Ronit, I would love to speak with you about your situation with your father. Thank you for being on camera. So tell me a little bit about your situation with, did you say your father?
Yes.
Okay, talk to me about it.
So my father has 3 different types of cancer. He, in 2000, I think it was 18 or 19, was in the hospital for 20 days. And my sister, so the situation is my mom moved with me to Colorado and my dad stayed in Tucson and my sister and I had an agreement that she would kind of take care of him. And in 2019, he was in the hospital and I went to go visit. And in 2020, just as COVID was starting, I ended up having to go out there 4 or 5 times, putting both of us at risk. And my sister has gotten to the point where she's kind of wishy-washy and she's like, I'm gonna handle it, I'm not, he's moving out, he's not. We finally got him out of his home, my childhood home, because he had field mice and he's a hoarder and there was a whole bunch of stuff. So he's in a place that is his own, that he's renting, but he's not doing well. When there was a couple times I went to go visit and I was pretty sure that would be the last time. So I'm just really struggling with what part do I play? I've been trying to encourage him to move to Colorado because we have 4 children and my mom's here and my husband and I to kind of be supportive. So I'm trying to figure out and navigate. Do I continue to let my sister help, but not really? Do I step in and take more action and kind of push the objective? He is really stubborn and his father died at 102 and he was living with my aunt. And so I think he has that mentality where he's going to be in that space, but most of the time he can't take care of himself and can't do a lot. And so he still drives, which is a problem. So I'm just trying to navigate being in Colorado and him in Arizona. I kind of want to take over and control the situation. And the other part of me is like, we all have an agreement that, and it's still to this moment, my sister and he are vaguely in alignment. So I'm struggling to see what's going on because every time I'm not there and I come back, I either put him in the emergency room or we have a lot of health issues that are not being handled.
Right. Gotcha. Well, first of all, let me say you are dealing with a lot. So I just really want to acknowledge that. And it sounds like one of the issues is lack of information. So it's hard to make a decision when you have lack of information. Does that resonate with you?
To a certain extent. He does call me when he has doctor's appointments, but it's hard for me to connect the dots when I'm not really involved in the decisions. And it's all like kind of peripheral. So I would say yes, if I wanted the information, but I'm not sure even what to do with all the doctor's information and how to put all of that together.
Right. So it's okay. So it's more like you're sorting out what is my job and what isn't it on this particular time,
Yes.
which is different than last year, for example. Yeah. Talk to me about what informs your sense of what your job is.
Can you expand on
I'll
that?
say it a different way. when you think to yourself, what's my job? What, when you're trying to think of the answer, where is the answer coming from? Is it coming from your heart? Is it coming from your fear? Is it coming from your sense of obligation? Talk to me about that.
I think it's kind of a mixture. I think I was raised in a way where you honor thy parents and you are there and you're supportive. And my dad calls and we do Shabbat on Fridays together over Zoom. So we are connected. And definitely from my heart, for the most part, I try to like keep my distance and allow the two of them to make his decisions. But when I go to visit and my dad drives off the road as he picks me up from the airport and I have to check him into the hospital or all of these things, I know like, because I have 4 children, I need to like let go and let them make their own decisions. But I'm just at some point letting him make his own decisions is actually impacting his health and it's impacting my life because I have to go out there to go take care of things.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm also the eldest. So, and my youngest sister never really wanted children or to take care of anybody. So I think this is a role she's not comfortable in, but it's hard for me to do anything more from where I'm at.
Right, right. That makes total sense. So in that sort of, on one hand, I can be in that letting go space, and then things will play out that will probably involve a crisis. And then I will probably have something to do during that crisis, as opposed to saying, oh, look, I let go and there's a crisis. I see that, right? Which is an option, but it does not sound like that's an option that feels comfortable to you. Well, right. Okay. I got you on that.
I can't just like when I talk to my dad and I can tell he's in pain or I'm telling he's suffering. I can't just be okay with that. That's
Yep. Okay. All right. Okay. So there's that letting go, but recognizing that too much, a certain amount of that leads to a crisis will happen. It's inevitable.
exactly.
Right. To then there's a limit to what you can do if he's there and you're here. Right. So you have some choices, and something is to kind of pursue the push towards getting him here, and the other is to see, is there more that's possible from here while he's there in terms of changing how you work with your sister and roles and responsibilities. That's kind of how somebody might not be on mute, so everybody else check to make sure you're mute. If I were to present those two to you on a platter and say, which feels like something you'd want to explore with me right now in coaching and in the imaginary, hour that we'd have together right now, would you like to explore the idea of how can I push harder to get him here? Or would you like to explore the idea of how can I think about renegotiating with my sister in roles so that I may have a little more influence even from a distance? Which one feels more doable?
My preference and what's doable are two different things. I think my preference would be him here because then it's easier for me to go to the doctor's appointments, understand what's going on, be more involved. He's not necessarily open to that. And every time I talk to my sister, she's kind of flip-floppy. It's like sometimes she wants him to come to Colorado and she's going to help me. And then other times, oh, he's going to move onto our property, but we need to build space for him. And she's kind of ADHD and she's all over the place. So I don't mind engaging with her, and that I'm open to either. I just don't know if we've been trying for 10 years to get him to come. And I'm not sure, no matter how much I want that will happen unless I become a little more aggressive. We did explore like retirement communities and things in Tucson, and we've taken him places, and I think there's some fear there, and he has a friend of his who is in one, but he's worried about the cost. So we've talked about maybe finding him somebody in his rental that could be with him So I'm open to whatever makes most sense in this context or the conversation.
Yeah, my sense is that in a coaching conversation right now, we'd get there's a little more traction in the what can Ronit do from here conversation. But we would also take a little time just to spend some time feeling how good it would feel if he were here, just so that we don't just put that off to the wayside. Um, and we won't do, for the purposes of our demonstration, we won't do that piece right now. But that we would actually, let me think, we would actually probably take like 2 minutes and just sort of really think about how good that would feel, because it's possible that from that feeling might come some other ideas. But for now, I think we'd focus on the what feels more doable, which is a slight shift or slight shifts to how you're currently communicating with both of them about what's going on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the time, and the truth is, I think now would actually be a good time to say, let's everybody come back. And so, but I don't want to leave you with nothing. So, you know what I do want to do? Okay, I keep on changing my mind. I keep on changing my mind. Everybody still stay off camera. Renee, let's take a minute. Let's just take a minute and just think together. I'm actually going to set the timer, and it's going to be kind of boring for the people who are watching, because we are just going to, you're going to quietly think to yourself what that would feel like to have him here. Okay, I'm going to hit start. And you can go off camera if you want the privacy. I'll just look down. Okay, great. And so before we invite everybody back, did any particular images or feelings come to you?
It would be a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Yeah.
I would give a lot to have my dad here with us.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's a real,
it's like a big hole and a missing by him not being here.
yeah, yeah. So those are some real profound truths. And so what we would do in our coaching is, if even as we were being very strategic about things, about how to work with your sister so that you have more, maybe a greater role, even as he is in Tucson, that we would be holding that place in our heart, because that is very profound. So yeah, I want to thank you for engaging in this, and let's bring everybody back, and then as they come back, I'll just say to everyone, and I'm gonna make it so that I can see people who are not on camera, and so that I can see myself.
I also wanted to thank you for the opportunity to just explore that. I think it's something that we don't think about a lot, and I think this is a very important perspective to keep our eye on.